Welcome to That Davis Show. I am Kenneth Davis. Follow me on all social media platforms at That's Davis. I'm always fortunate to be joined by executive producer Ryan Bukoveski. Follow him at Ryan B. Ski and Ryan B. Ski1 on Instagram. We're going to spend a short little time on this segment to talk about something that I'm tired of talking about and seeing on social media. And that's Will Smith and the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts, and Science. It came out yesterday that the Academy is banning Will Smith for 10 years from attending the award show or any of their events. All right. He can, just so you know, he can still be nominated. All right. But if he wins, someone else has to represent him. Now how I feel about it, I'm fine with it. Now, I'm sure we can go on about Roman Polanski and what he did was, I won't even compare it to what Will Smith did. Sexual assault in anyone, let alone a minor, is heinous. One of the most heinous things you can do. I've seen people mentioning the kiss with Jim Carrey being sexual assault, and anytime you're kissing on somebody and they didn't ask you to kiss on somebody, it's bogus. But I don't want to not focus on the fact that Will Smith committed assault on that Sunday night. All right.
That's the tricky part, I feel like, because everything has been just it seems like it's playing for almost the crowd, but he did kind of go up there and assault him.
It kind of goes back. See, this is the thing. It goes back, and make sure you subscribe on YouTube and go look at some of the old stuff. We had a segment talking about the news, and regardless of what hat you wear or what party you follow, you're being gaslit. I mean, we live in a world where it's just varying ways of gaslighting, and you have to be perceptive enough to know so you can navigate yourself around it. The same thing applies here. You have people in different silos, and people are going to say he's a black man. Black men should always stand up for their women. I say this to the utmost. I don't play when it comes to protecting women, particularly black women. All right. So that's not even a thing here for me. But I also don't feel that Chris Rock knew that Jada Pinkett Smith had alopecia, because I didn't. It's not something that I have maintained. I don't think I knew. Perhaps it was mentioned and I forgot. But all of us don't live in what's going on with Jada world. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to that young lady at all. It was just, we didn't. I took it as he was talking about G.I. Jane, the Demi Moore movie, and she shaved her head in the movie. I took it as the same thing there because it wasn't a funny joke. And I mean funny from, you could tell he was trying to not be rude to her. In my opinion, this is my opinion, because he could have everyone could have done entanglement. You saw that, Regina Hall touched on the entanglement a little bit. Everyone could have done entanglement, even though we're not here to sit there and revisit that part of this whole thing. Again, listen, he could have had charges pressed against him. One, he got to stay there the whole night and get his award. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, to be honest with you, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? I mean, also, I feel like with Will Smith, to a degree, he's like, man, I got what I've been wanting from y'all for all along anyway.
Right.
I got what I needed. You know what I'm saying? It'd be cool to pop out or whatever, but I got what I needed, and I can still win more down the road if possible. Now I'll tell you this, he's gonna have to act his ass off, and it's gonna have to be some project for them, because they're not gonna want to give it to him in general, just because they don't want that story to be brought back up, right? Also, clearly, if you thought this was a stunt, I really guess it's not a stunt. This would be really far for the Academy, Chris Rock, and for Will Smith to go to this length for some type of skit. All right. I think now we can assume this is not, if people still assume it was a skit or not. But
Watergate for actors and actresses in Hollywood.
Exactly. I mean, 10 years. And I never thought they were going to take his award from him, and I don't think they should have taken his award. Now you get into the Roman Polanskis and the so on and so forth, as far as all these.
Right. What's the precedent?
Yeah, now you're talking. Now you're going to. I mean, now we're taking everything away. All right, if you're taking his away, you got people that have really done something. Not saying insulting someone or something, but he smacked somebody. I think it's disrespectful. That's not what I'm saying. But it wasn't rape. All right, and that I hate. That's not how I meant to say that. Those are because those things. The scale is too different. They shouldn't be compared whatsoever. But you get what I mean when it comes to what Will Smith did to what we knew Roman Polanski did back in the 70s, I believe, assaulting that young lady. All right. But what were your thoughts, Ryan, on the entire situation?
I don't know. I maybe don't have like a great take on this because to me it feels just kind of like fake, if you will, in a way, with some of these punishments and some of these reactions. I guess the decade's fine. Like you said, to me, I don't like this precedent in a way because, okay, is this the line? You got to just assault someone at the Academy Award show in order to get any type of punishment from the Academy for how you are as a person rather than what you do as an artist or an entertainer in terms of that recognition. And I'm totally with you. I would not have stripped Will Smith at all. I never felt he should have. Like, you can't just combine the two. Oh, let's strip him of his award because he slapped Chris Rock. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to press charges, something like that, fine. I mean, that's what that is. But in terms of him receiving an award for his work as acting, I don't think you should take it away because he struck somebody. Because, as you pointed out, how many times could we say this award should be taken away from so-and-so? This should be taken away from whoever because of what they've done in the past, regardless if it happened at the Oscars or not. So I just keep going back and forth right now. I want this to just die, honestly.
Definitely.
I'd love this to just go away.
Please.
I don't like even how the Academy is just continuing to drag it on. Like, there is not this ensemble, this crowd with the pitchforks and the flames going after Frankenstein, like at the front door of the Academy. Like, why haven't we punished Will Smith? Why haven't you responded? Like, no one cares. No one watches your show, dude. No one even watches the Oscars anymore. That was like the highest rated Oscar in I don't know how many years, and it still really did nothing. And it did really nothing ratings wise. It was just, hey, did you see this? Get on the Oscars right now. This is crazy. Like, that's the only reason why anyone watched.
Well, no, that's not the only reason why anyone watched. Let me stop you right there. It was because the Oscars was so black. As far as Will Packard, you had the diversity of the lady hosts that were out there, 2 black women and a white woman. That's what got the eyes on it. Why the ratings were through the roof, and then Will Smith took it to a different level. Right?
Well,
there.
They weren't even through the roof. That's my point. That
I mean, for the Oscars,
were better. Yes, for the
Oscars.
But that's my point when you're announcing this, like, oh, we have to have the grand deposition and figuring out with Will Smith. Nobody even cares about the Oscars in general. Like, just overall society, this nation in general, internationally, it's definitely the highest award you can get in acting, but nobody's really watching. Nobody really is focusing that much. And just how they have to have this like rollout of the punishment for Will Smith, it just feels kind of like Fox to me. That's the word that kind of keeps coming to my mind.
You say Fox?
Fox, F-A-U-X.
Okay. Now I got you. All right. Look, we did a clip. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now, but it made me think of one of the things that you were just talking about. From this happening, could there perhaps be some form of censorship? I don't know if there will be or not, even though I think you need to let people know, don't run up on stage and assault anyone, period. Like, you need to set a precedent.
Don't you think they know that now?
But see, liability, Ryan, liability. That's why, for instance, if and not to say it happens at every company, because depending on how much money you bring in, but part of the reason if employee X did something to employee Z, you get rid of employee X, even if you think it's a one-off, is because employee X does it again, it's going to be on you for retaining them. So you can't just be like, hey, everyone knows, because the next time it happens, your ass is really in trouble because you didn't let people know this will not be accepted. So no, you can't. That's not, you can't, to be honest with you. I mean, even think about it, just as on some street shit. The reason why people go to extremes on the streets, to be honest with you, is because you want to let people know not to do something. If you were wronged, you want to let people know, do not do that again, because you don't want to be a turnstile to whatever happened to you. You know what I'm saying? So just applying that thought process to this, you had if the Academy is the streets, they have to let you know, don't run up in their house no damn more. All right.
And they did in a way too, right?
Clack, clack, clack. Don't run up in like you have to set precedent. Like, don't. I'm just saying I'm not the one because the fear. And I'm just telling you, just on like I said, some street. The fear is now everyone's treating you like a hoe, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So,
and they did that in a way, almost mafia style, like cut him off at the knees. How much money has he lost just in general? Like the Academy trying to shun away things. And then obviously it's a highly political machine that it is. I mean, Will Smith's probably going to be feeling it in other ways that aren't public in terms of a punishment, like you said.
maybe. I mean, with his own production company, with him being the quote unquote mayor of Hollywood, he has his tentacles in so many different ways. I think he'll be fine. And also,
No, he'll be fine, but it's you're not just going up the way that you were.
I can feel that to a degree. But the thing was, so I was bringing up the censorship because we have a clip that may have come out already where I was demonstrating something that happened to some little kid in Texas with the with the science project that went left or wrong, right? And I feel like it's gonna get hit or dinged, all right? So don't be the dinger, all right? You SOB, don't be. But the reason I want to bring it up is so at one point, my higher up, shout out to Michael Allardyce at NBC, was going to get me verified here, well, on Instagram, which you hope you may be watching this on Instagram right now, or this clip or a clip of this on Instagram. And it didn't come through, and I was wondering like, what happened, right? Maybe Instagram doesn't feel fuck with your boy or whatever, right? It's not like I have a huge reach. So like about 3 weeks later or 2 weeks later, Instagram hit me and told me that I violated the community's rules, right?
Uh-oh. You're on the watch now.
They're watching you. And also I follow a lot of black shit. All right. Like so I'm sure they was like, oh, this militant. You want me to
verify this man?
This militant? Like, so the thing was this. I can't even really remember the entirety of what the clip was that I posted a comment to, but I know it was a molester, some pedophile. And I don't know if he killed the child or not. I know that's sad, right? I can't remember that, but I want to read my comment to you all because this is, and again, I get why it kind of goes with just saying about the Academy or whatever, because Instagram, and again, now it's who Instagram picks and chooses too. All right, but that's a whole different discussion.
Without a doubt.
All right, so this is what I wrote to the thing about this pedophile raping some little child. Unfortunately, I said he needs to get stomped out. That'll make him think about it next time. Cats don't get their asses beat enough nowadays. That was my comment. Going again, coming from the hood, right?
True. It's true, but yeah.
It was like, did they know first of all, who flagged me is the question, right? Like, who flagged that? Like, who was taking up for the pedophile in those comments, right? Was that Instagram checking me out? Was that someone that was like, oh my God, right? Like, because I'm
Can
saying
we be nice to some pedophiles here, Ken?
Right, right. Like this rapist needs. I didn't say, and listen, it's funny because I thought about bringing this here to this platform. And when I went to go, it hit me one day. I was like, go look at it, right? Because you can find it in your Instagram settings. I was like, did you say kill him? And I was like, I didn't even say kill him. Right? Because in my heart of hearts, especially if he did murder that child, kill him. So anyway, I'm just being honest with you. I'm being honest with you. I'm being honest with you. There's some things I take to, first of all, and it goes back to protecting women. I'm very big on protecting children, all right, and old folks, and men too. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we leave us out in the cold, right? Oh, you damn man. But you get the point. You get the point. But you said before we started this, getting back to Will Smith and his 10-year ban from the Academy of Motion Pictures, Art, and Sciences. You said there was something that you wanted to talk about pertaining to Melvin and myself in our text thread with the guys, because we talked about, even though, like I said, I'm semi done with it. I've seen some posts. I was on sensitive guys. I was like, nah, I'm done with it. I'm not doing it. But what were your thoughts, Ryan?
Well, what struck me in our earlier discussion episode on the Will Smith, basically the react to when it actually went down, was you said that it was a cry for help, and I keep like seeing that with like any kind of development within the story, whether it's been we're considering banning him, okay, here is the ban, Jada's not saying anything, and Jada says this. Oh, resurface clips of what they said back in the day. I just keep coming back to a cry for help almost with Will Smith. And even same thing, Melvin was essentially echoing that, and just in general, just thinking like, hey, this isn't a comment on Jada Pinkett Smith, but he just thinks she's no good for Will personally. And I am seeing that more and more myself. And when you like see, because what's the rage now? I saw an update that she didn't even want to get married. Like she had to be shotgun married with Will and that stuff.
I don't even know if first of all, let's be very careful with it for social media, because when people have a narrative they can run with, they create clips for money, for attention. So when I saw that, I didn't want to bring that over here because I don't know if it's true or not. And people keep
and I don't want to bring it over, but just in terms of just overall general news exposure.
Listen, I'll say this: there are two adults. For me personally, I couldn't go through some of the things that relationship seems like it perhaps has gone through. But Will Smith is a grown ass man, and if he feels that that's his perfect mate, so be it. And that, and to me, I feel like, and this is one thing too. I don't know anything about that family, but I think they probably hurt one another. I think I'd be foolish to say they haven't hurt one another, or I'll be biased on the Will Smith side to say that he hasn't hurt her or whatever. And sometimes, and it's Jada Pinkett Smith and her Red Table Talks, she has some salient points, but sometimes you have to really apply some of that to you. And sometimes it's best to move apart rather than move together, because what's best for you, your mind, spirit, and soul. Now that's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But again, like getting to your point, it definitely was I mean, dog, this is just real talk. You're when you trying to prove a point and you going overboard. You know what I'm saying? You ever snapped on somebody and didn't realize how foul you were because maybe you were in an ill mood, or it was this girl in high school,
or you're just very passionate about what you're saying that you're disregarding how you should be actually saying or even viewing it from a perspective.
It was this girl in high school, right? And we were really cool. I don't know if her name was Moni or not. I apologize. And one day we were in the library, and she made this comment. This girl that was a friend of mine, me and my best friend at the time, we would go hang out at her crib, and people thought we were having sex with her. We wasn't, right? We didn't, not to just be disrespectful, we didn't like her like that. Like, I think even her boyfriend, who at one point went to our school, thought we was sneaking off with her. Me and him wasn't even doing stuff like that, as far as like we tag team, and we thought we was better than that, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I do my loving on the dope, solo. All right, I'm like, let's team up. Again, if that's your vibe, do you or whatever, right? So it got to the point where I got so like people, and I guess it's also a point that sometimes people don't believe that opposite sex can be friends or whatever. It was strictly platonic with me and her and my best friend and her. We weren't doing shit with her, right? So one day Moni makes a comment. Mind you, I keep hearing this all the time. You banging so-and-so, you effing so-and-so, right? My friends, man, something, right? To the point where now, at this point in the library this day, I snap at her, right? And I mean, I snap because I'm tired of hearing it, right? And I mean, because one, I knew she liked me, but outside of that, she was really cool, right? And it was like, and afterwards, I was like, damn, that was foul. Regardless if she was saying something that was a lie, I didn't have to snap like that. And that's just an example of, you do things that at the moment you feel justified in doing them, but then you realize, regardless of someone triggering you, that to the level you took it was wrong. And you know what I'm saying? Just like we said plenty of times, it would have still been a head, it would have been, not to say it would have been as big as this headline, and he wouldn't have got banned, and who knows if he cares. But if he just sat there and cursed at Chris Rock like he did and said, "Keep my wife's effing name out your mouth," that would have been all around the world. And Chris Rock would have still been thrown off by it happening. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, I'll tell you, and at that point, and I'll say this, even if what I said earlier about, I don't think Chris Rock knew about the alopecia situation, that would have been lessened, because it would have been, if he knew or not, Will Smith was still just standing up for his wife, because the punishment would have fit the crime. I feel like what you said to her initially, we all know initially Will didn't feel like what he said to her was wrong. He saw Jada, he laughed at first, he saw Jada, then it triggered him, right? Then it would have fit the crime, because you disrespect. I feel like you disrespected her. I'm disrespecting you on international television. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling you out. And I feel the Academy may have done something, but I feel like compared to 10 years, it would have been minute. You know what I'm saying? It may have been a year or two or something like that, right? But to get up there and to physically, like, he could even just went up there and just grabbed him, like, man, don't do that, right? Like, it just for real, like, dude, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? That's my wife. Don't do that. And then again, I'm still telling you, we would all probably have to still fall on his side of it. But when you assault someone internationally for something that did not, let's just even say if it was malicious on Chris Rock's part, didn't meet the same level whatsoever, that's when it's like, dude, bro, what's going on? And you're not like, this man is a thinker, is a plot. Like, come on, you don't ascend to the top of Hollywood without being somewhat intelligent, to say the least. So again, I hope this will be the last time, and I'm sure there'll be news coming out about them. Maybe if something so big, we'll bring it over as his platform. But sometimes I hate being caught up in the rapture of the world and their BS, because let these people do whatever they have to do with one another. But whatever y'all doing with one another shouldn't cause somebody else to be assaulted. All right, like unless they sign an NDA and saying that that's what y'all do for y'all king. All right.
And I mean, Chris Rock, he's not pressing charges so far, at least.
He could like he said that night. No, the Academy asked him, the cops said, do you want to press charges? No. And then when you, again, I hate to revisit this, you find out how often he's been bullied and robbed and beat up. And to have that happen to you it makes how he reacts, it makes it worse how Chris Rock reacts when you know the history. And look, the same thing with Jada Pinkett Smith and her alopecia. I didn't know Chris Rock was someone who grew up necessarily being bullied and robbed all the time, and how he had to go through therapy for that. And let's just say this, even if that happened to him, it doesn't give him the right, if he knowingly disrespected that woman with what her infliction. If Chris Rock did that on purpose, shame on him, and damn near he should have caught that one. You know what I'm saying? It's to a degree. But when you see how he reacts, like, oh my, and tries to like, and I mean, one, it's credit to him for not reacting how a lot of us said we would have reacted, but also him reliving, you know what I'm saying, that his past on international television. But again, like, I didn't want to sit here and go over this whole case again. You know what I'm saying? That was definitely, I didn't want to socially.
We're both hoping this thing dies down and goes away.
I didn't want to socially relitigate this whole incident. That wasn't why we brought up the tip. It was just to report and talk about our feelings on it. And I feel like that's all we have to do. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, we've got the punishment, right? Like, we can finally move on. There shouldn't be anything more with this other than people wanting to drag it out just to drag it out, right?
It's going to be something.
I feel like this is the conclusion here.
No, because we haven't heard the live interview from Will and Jada, and Chris Rock hasn't added it to his routine yet.
They need to put that away. It sounds like Chris Rock is not going to try to at least put in. Maybe he might wait a little bit. Yeah,
because you got to. I mean, you got to process it. Plus, he already has his tour, so he had majority of his jokes for the tour
already.
So
that probably works better. Let a little revision history come in here, not some fresh.
Right,
I would think.
Also now, because he like, I was real quick. I got to have a sip of water. My mouth is parched.
Well, you've been going off on your boy, so of course.
But the thing is this too. I was going to get Chris Rock tickets, right? When I got the new edition tickets.
I thought you already did.
No, I messed up, right? I messed up. I didn't know. Will Smith was going to smack his ass at the damn Oscars, right? The tickets were like $41, Ryan. I went back.
You're probably selling them for $400 or something.
It was $200 more put on those tickets when I went back after that. So now I have to wait and see if some of these people just don't want to go when it comes, because he's not coming here to the fall. So to the point that I'm going to make now, when he's in the latter half of this tour, he has a holy weapon to unfurl when it comes to, let me talk about this or whatever. So until those three publicly really speak in depth on it, we still have to wait for the entire fallout, Mike.
Sure.
And I'm sure this too. One last point. Chris Rock for his show, I'm sure he's waiting to see what they do publicly, if they do anything publicly, so he can add that to the show to his reaction to it.
Right. Why would he respond kind of first? Might as well react.
Exactly. Right. Might as well react. You know what I'm saying? So I think just wait. He's definitely going to have some. It's too big. All right. It's too big for him to sit there and just not do anything with it. You know what I'm saying? All right. That is it for us. But make sure you always follow us, subscribe on YouTube, and wherever your podcasts are found. We always appreciate it. And please don't do anything crazy.